Yamaha XTZ660 3YF. What a beast. We're having some problems. I've just stuck a beautiful exhaust off eBay, unbranded. Don't really know where it's from, but haven't rejetted the car, but I read somewhere that these bikes were a little bit over fuely from the factory at this age, and that's certainly been the case with some of the with the main jet. We've got the throttle open, but it's not idling right. I'm going to try and show you those symptoms now. See where we're at. So it's a beautiful sunny day here in the UK, 15 degrees, so high summer, hot as it gets. I am going to be on full choke to begin with. Lovely full battery. Let's watch it start. As you can see, it's not on the button right now. So, as you can see, the machine has performed perfectly for a YouTube video to display how it's not working properly. It usually works quite a bit better than that, actually. But what we're going to be doing is having a look at that idle jet and maybe just sticking a little bit of a larger one in and see if that fixes the problem. Because I need a little container for all these bolts so I don't lose them. I'll just leave them on the floor. That's never gone wrong before. Oh, I just broke it. That's never happened before. I had to kind of construct a little which is good. We like a lot of idiots on scooters. Madness and stupidity. I mean, there's absolutely no practical reason to ride a motorcycle. It's not moving. It's not moving. It's staying still. So something's threaded. Just get a bigger screwdriver and be a bit more forceful with it. After over an hour with one bolt, it's moving freely in a circular motion, but it's not moving out of the hole it's stuck in. So I'll have to come back to that another day. It's actually a couple of days later now, and it's taken me about 3 hours to get this loose. Look at that. I don't know quite what happened to it, but it's stripped right to the end. I've also managed to break off this other bit of plastic on the fairing, which has made me rather annoyed, although it is a fairly heavily over-repaired piece of plastic now. I think there's only one fuel line on this tank from memory. There we go. Should come back a bit further now. So, I brought you around this side because I have a suspicion I'm going to forget where approximately half of all of these little fuel hoses go. I think. You missed that, sorry. The card got full without me noticing. So that's a lovely carburettor, which you missed a lot of swearing and brilliant sarcasm, excellent charisma and humour as that was coming out. But it's looking nice and clean, so we'll get that on the bench and have a look at the idle jet.
So, first of all, I'm going to very gently take this mix screw out. It's got a spring behind it, so it just keeps it where it needs to be. Lovely seal, bit of a spring. I'm going to be very nice to this because we haven't got the correct gasket on hand to put back again afterwards. I've had this carburettor off in the last couple of thousand miles, and it was really quite lovely inside. It's obviously been rebuilt in the last 5,000 miles, maybe 10. Gently now. Lovely and clean. See there, we've got some lovely floats, pushing a little pin. That's everything's doing what it should there. Our main jet's not really attached properly. That won't have been helping anyone. What we found out, having got this far into a straightforward job, is the main jet, I mean, it was halfway out, so I'm hoping it was just a case that it wasn't really tight enough when it was last put in. My hope is if we pop that back in and do it up tight, it'll be fine. I think it was, I mean, you know, would it have run fine if I just had the main jet screwed up properly? No, yeah, we'll try it. Ice cream. So, in this, which is impossible to film, so I'm just going to pull it out and show you. Down next to the main jet there is this idle jet, which, if no one's messed around with it, will be a 48, I think. And over here we have a beautiful new one size up number 50 we're going to try in there instead. Now, having spent far too long dismantling this vehicle to get to this stage, I am of course excited to reassemble everything just to find out whether this works or not. I would have been a lot more confident if we hadn't have found the main jet was loose. Further, I would have been far happier if I hadn't broken the fairing in 2 places in the process. Once again, the tinybahco. Tiny Barco. I'm going to use the tiny adjustable spanner on this, and at the same time offer a shout out to Reen, who will be exceedingly angry at me for using the non-specific metric spanner. Sorry, Reen. Right, that's lovely and tight. This bowl is lovely and clean. idle mix screw, which I did not need to take out. Now, you'll always need to be checking your manual, or at your own risk asking people on the internet. But we're going to do that up to gently seat it. That means screw it all the way in, and then we're going to come back exactly 2.5 turns. 1.5, that's 1 full turn, 1.5, 2.5, which I know from checking the manual for this motorcycle. So, this carburettor goes back into that gap. Obviously I've taken very careful notes on where these go. I was actually going to review the video, which does not exist, so we're going to hope for the best. That one's really important. That's something really important. That's vacuum. That's from the fuel pump. Where do you go? Yes, you're the tricky one. I remember now. How do I do this? I mean, there's got to be some sort of procedure. Not easy. Just don't want to damage these manifolds either, which are new and not as good as the originals, which also weren't very good. Let's come back out again. I broke the manifolds. If anyone knows how to do this neatly, what the system is, we'd love to see a video of that. We'd love that. This is what YouTube is for, to show me how to do this hard thing. Oh. It's a convenient telephone call break. I think we're just about there. Okay, you've been away for a little while. Nothing's happened. I turned the camera off so I could use some strong language. At the moment I've come to a safe conclusion that motorcycling is just not worth the hassle of trying to fit a carburettor back onto a Yamaha XTZ. Alright. Things are coming together, and the good news is it's a bit late, and so we can have a beer. Today I'm drinking Pressure Drop's Pale Fire. It's a classic. How's it smelling today? Oh, Pressure Drop, you are doing very well. Well done. Oh. So the airbox is attached to the carburettor. The carburettor is attached to the engine. There are no leftover hoses except this one, which is the fuel supply. I think we're just about in a position now. We're close to giving it a go. So we need to get some fuel into the fuel pipe here. The design of this motorcycle means that you can't access any of the carburettor when the tank's on it, which means if I'm going to run it up warm and make some minor adjustments to the carburettor, I'm going to have to do it without the tank on. So I've designed something ingenious. This is a tiny bucket attached to the ceiling with a pipe stuck in it and a bit off the end of a pen stuck in the end of that pipe, which I'm going to stick in this pipe quite hard and hope it stays there. I can't see anything going wrong here. Let's fill it up with petrol and see how it goes. Look at that. Ha, great. So, here's the carburettor, now accessible without the tank in the way. We've got the idle mix screw underneath, which is barely accessible even without the tank. Now I've backed off the idle adjustment screw here to much lower, so hopefully the throttle is not open at all. That's in an attempt to start it, because it's not quite adjusted right. And the procedure is going to be mess around trying to start it for a while, maybe fiddle around with that idle screw. Once we've got it started, we're going to warm it up to its optimum temperature, and then we're going to try some adjustments on that idle mix screw to get us to a perfect idle speed. Let's get going. Right, it's quite warm. I'm going to start half choke and see what happens. Once again, the most useful of all tools, the tinybahco spanner. I'm actually going to turn it in. So we're listening closely to hear if there's any change in the engine. I'm going to go 1/3 of a turn, 1/6 of a turn in. It's easy to measure 6 because I've got a hex thing. Well, I heard nothing. I think that's getting worse. That's me adjusting the idle adjustment, so ignore that. I'm just worried that the throttle's a little open and we're not getting much effect from this mix screw. Let's go back to where we started. Okay, internet hive mind, help me out here. I'm not getting very much effect at all from the idle mix screw underneath here. The revs are staying fairly steady. It's running at, you know, a lower idle than it's supposed to, which is really good. You know, it seems to be running well warmed up. Now, the problem I've got is I think perhaps there's a venturi blocked leading up to that idle screw, because I can go a little bit lower with this idle adjustment screw such that I'll do it now so it stops, but I reckon there is 2 millimeters more adjustment there that I'm not using, which implies that the main jet is open a little bit, which is possibly why I'm not getting any effect from the idle mix screw. Do I need to go up massively with my idle jet? Or do I need to just clean it out a bit? That's its correct idle speed in the manual, about 1250 RPM. So I'm pretty happy, but I don't think it's running right for the right reasons. But I might leave this YouTube video here because I need some help. I don't really know what's going on. Leave some comments below. Tell me what you think. Maybe I need to go up another 2 sizes in the idle jet. Seems ridiculous. I don't even know how big a size is. Probably a tiny difference. Anyway, watch this space, everyone.